Comrades, before the memorandum can be signed, I'm going to read it to all of you, and it goes like this. The South African Student Congress, Solomon Mahlangu branch at the University of Free State is deeply concerned by the depth of the slow pace of transformation at the university as a result of lack of agency on particular issues. Despite being in full support of the transformation project of the university, we remain very pessimistic that this glorious and necessary process of transformation will not be possible for as long as the institutional leadership continues to term it while prioritizing conservative white fragilenties as opposed to the real struggles facing students in general, blacks in particular. The leadership's culture of the marginalism and authority as opposed to facilitation and dialogue. The management has failed in taking bold action on institutional racism evident in the policies that perpetuate, protect and preserve white dominance at the expense of the equality of human dignity of black students. Incidences of racism, sexism and corruption within the institution. We cannot continue to have a campus that continues to alienate majority of students by having statues of those who conceived and under the state administration that committed heinous crimes against humanity. We cannot continue to celebrate and implore blacks to assimilate into a culture which is Afrikaner culture. We cannot have statues of those who committed a crime against humanity. We, the members of SASCO Solomon Mahlangu branch, committed to the struggle for equality, redress, non-racialism, non-sexism, democracy, and academic excellence, under the leadership of the branch executive committee, converge in the University of the Free State to demonstrate and demand that 1. Inequality and quality. The admission of black students in faculties which remain untransformed, like the medical faculty that admits less than 30% of black students to the above 60% in 2016. Equity in the faculty selection programs. Increase the amount of black lecturers, professors and deans that is at a 20% low. The appointment of a black female dean of student affairs and the registrar as soon as possible. Point number 2, residence placement. Placement of first-year students from the overall 53% of black and 47% of white and abnormally skewed in particular residences to an overfall above 65% black in 2016, and in specific residences is 60% black. We call for the effective implementation of the randomized placement. We furthermore call for the complete overhaul of residence traditions that work against the institutional values of the university. Point number 3, signs, symbols, and statues. The immediate removal of statues and naming and renaming of buildings named after people like JBM, C.R. Swart, and J. van der Merwe, or person who does not resonate with the values of the institution, and the erection of the statues of leaders that speak to the values of our communities like Comrade Bran Fisher, O.R. Tambo, John Slovo, and the others. Transformation of curriculum. The changing of the pedagogy that does not reflect or support the transformation project of the university university modules like UFS 101 and postgraduate programs such as Africa Studies to create awareness of our history, not only as South African but also as Africans. English should be used as a medium of instruction with translation services available in Sotho and Afrikaans. All students should be allowed to register in any of the 3 languages of choice. The finance policies. Scrapping of the deregistration policy and re-registration of all students who have been affected within 24 working hours of the receipt of this memorandum. Total reduction of the skyrocketing tuition fees, which are meant to milk and deprive the poor the birthright of education in favor of the profits. We demand the accountability and transparency about sources of finance by the institution. And our last point, we demand that the student representation in all spheres of influence and policy making, starting from the classroom level, faculty reps, finance representation. This will ensure that the tendency of suppressing and dismissing genuine student struggles such as irrational and radical is dealt with, and that student leaders can voice the concerns of their constituencies without fear of being victimized or over-regulated. On student governance, we demand that IEA be removed from presiding on SLC elections and IEC is called to preside in ensuring free and fair elections. The 2015 SLC elections will not take place on our campus if it's presided by the university employees and senior management of the university under the banner of IEA. We want all these issues to be responded with the necessary action within the next 24 hours. Comrades, all these demands that we have written here and we require the management to respond to, they are not impossible. Yes. It's possible. The management know very well of these issues. This is not the first time these issues are being raised. And today we say to the management of the University of Free State, we would like all these issues to be, at the end of the day, within the next 24 hours, we need to get a response. Thank you very much. At this moment, we're going to allow Professor Jansen to sign the memorandum. The branch secretary of SASCO, Comrade Benny, and myself will also sign the memorandum.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all of you. I want to welcome my students here today and also the non-students, because quite a few of you are not my students. I don't know how you got here. But this is a student march of the University of the Free State, and I want to thank you for marching, and I want to thank Bongani and the leadership of SASCO, Solomon Mashlangu branch, for a march that was presented with dignity and with respect to everybody involved. The issues that you raise are real issues, and I will respond to you very quickly on these issues. As you know, many of these issues are concerns that we all carry. Let me just give you one example. At the beginning of this academic season, there were 2,702 students who were listed for deregistration. This morning, there were only 262 left. How did that happen? Let me tell you, because you need to know this. That happened because not because of NSFAS, because most of that money was given out to students on all 3 campuses very quickly. This university is very efficient in getting the money to the students, including the students with disabilities, for which there's a different category. That money went out very quickly. Then the institutional funds, we're not a rich university like some in the south, but we use every cent that we have to make sure that the students are supported. Then, with my team, myself included, we have raised this year 17 million rands, 17 million just this year for student bursaries. Every cent has gone to students. My staff at this university, it's very easy, to stand and call people names. But let me tell you, the staff at this university, including my secretaries, I'm not going to talk about the senior management because we give anyway, have set up a staff fund. Out of that staff fund, many of the students have been able to be supported. We're not supposed to do that. We don't have to do that. We do that because we are concerned that every poor student with a good academic record is funded. That's why we're only on 262. And I give you my commitment that we're working on that 262 right now, even as we speak, so that we can bring it down to 0. Now, it's not easy. This is not a rich country. This is not a rich university. We don't have alumni who are millionaires and billionaires. But we go out and we hit the road, as I will do again on Friday in Cape Town, to raise the money so that we can make sure every student gets registered. We do that because we were in the same, all 3 of us here were in the same shoes when we were students. We didn't get here because we had our own money. We got here because other people enabled us to study. So the issues that SASCO rightly brings to our attention is issues that keep us awake at night. And we will continue to fight to make sure that happens. On the issue of statues and so on and so forth, I think it's very important that you bring your proposals. As I said at the seminars last week, if you have proposals for what must change, bring it. We're not against change. Bring the proposals so that we can take it through the system and make sure that the university is responsive to those issues, etc. You have channels, you have opportunities, but I don't think students have. Normally, those proposals don't come from students; it comes from staff. So bring the proposals for change. We all have an investiture in change. And just remember, at our university, we don't just change for the sake of changing. We change so that all our people can feel included. I want my memories here, but I also want other people's memories respected. So how you do it is as important as whether you do it. And I want you to understand that this university doesn't just exist for one part of our population. It exists for all of us. Nobody has ever mentioned to me Adam Koch II, who was a Greek chief here. Nobody mentions that. We only mention the ones that we like. All of our memories are important as we rebuild this university and so on. And then finally, I just want to say that I have huge respect for you as students, for how you bring these issues. I had a long conversation with Bongani. It is important that you march. It's important that you bring the issues. It's important that you remind us of our mandate to make sure our university transform in the interest of all our people. Because a university doesn't exist, unlike a company, it doesn't exist for today. It exists for, the future. Your grandchildren must study here one day and feel more included and more supported than you do, etc. And let me just say this, that today I'm very, very encouraged by this march. It's been quiet on campus, and it's very important that you exercise your political right. It is your right to march. It is also your responsibility, as you've shown today, to be decent in marching, to be respectful. And it is our responsibility to hear you. So I want to say to Bongani, we hear you, and we will respond to you very quickly on these issues. Thank you very much, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you.